Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dan Coccimilgio along with Ryan Smith. Larry will be joining us shortly after the Giants break out the bats today and get a big victory, 12-0 over the Padres on 17 hits. I think that's more hits than they had in over a week, isn't it, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's the most that they've had either all year or second. I'm not quite sure, but, we got to start. I don't know how many people were hanging with us at the end of the show once Larry left, but we said, this is nut crunching time for the Giants. They have 8 games until the break. We were even throwing them the Rodon game because it felt that significant. We said, for us to believe in this team, they need to go 6-3 down the stretch. Well, now they're 2-0. So they're 2-0. They got to go 4-3, and we're back on the hype train. We're back on the, we're making moves at the deadline. We got to be at least 47-44 going into the All-Star break. And it seems like the pitching staff has become almost like the alphas of the team. I mean, hell, Alex Wood was out there the fire he had, and I just love the way he works so quickly. I don't know, man. It seemed like the Padres we were similarly on the snide. Like, we were both struggling, both on big losing streaks. And it seems like the Padres broke out of it. And it seems like the Giants snatched the momentum right back with these last 2 games. So, yeah.
Big Flores yesterday with the 2-run homer, and he does it again today. He goes 4 for 6.
Woohoo.
Knocks in
how about that last
4 runs?
That was awesome.
Yeah, and my man, who I really want to see play almost every day, Austin Slater, gets 2 more hits. He's hitting 277. And Gonzo, Luis Gonzalez, comes off the bench 2 for 4, 307. Giants are it's a good thing the Giants won today and won convincingly, because before the game, I was pretty ticked off, right? I was ready to come on this show and just rip Kapler a new one if the Giants had lost by putting in Austin Wynns as your DH over Gonzalez or Jock Peterson. I'm thinking, you know what? Does this platoon thing? I'm thinking if he had a couple more right-handers, he would have had all 9 guys. I mean, Yaz is lucky they ran out of right-handers. He got thrown in there, batted 9th, and, Yaz got 2 hits today and got a triple. And, but my goodness, do we have to platoon to the point where we have Austin Wynns, a career minor leaguer? And if you look up his stats, I believe his minor league stats, he's like a 200 hitter. Yep. And he's batting 228. But we leave Gonzalez, who's hitting over 300, just comes off the IL, needs his timing back. He can't DH for the day. I'm still a little bit hot about that, even though they won 12-0, that Austin Wynns is our DH. I mean, come on. Peter Zimmer says if Bart got hurt, who would the Giants go with to catch for the rest of the game? Why have 2 catchers in the lineup? Exactly, Peter. It just makes no sense. It would have had to bring in probably Mercedes or Flores. You don't need to put a guy. I mean, you're playing with you're really playing with fire. When you put your backup catcher. I mean, it's not like he's Johnny Bench, and we need his bat in the lineup, but we don't have his glove. We definitely need Johnny Bench or Buster Posey. We got to put that catcher in there to bet. I mean, he got a hit today. Let's give him credit. I mean, give Gabe and the gurus upstairs, the Geek Squad, some credit, but it was a bloop. It wasn't anything. I was on the I had just gotten off my flight and so I was listening on the radio. It sounded like it was a little Texas leaguer over the infield. Was that what it was, Rye?
Yeah. Also, I just think it's hilarious that, the day after we pretty much say, you know what? All right, we are allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, and we are going to allow ourselves to be convinced that the Giants can get back in this thing. They pretty much gave us, the best performance we could have asked for. And I love how we're just coming out the gate complaining.
I know. I 12-0. I just I just want to see, the other night Gabe comes on and he says he was asked a question in the post-game show by John Shea, one of the writers, and he said, why was Jock not in the starting lineup after he was named as an all-star starter? Basically the only all-star starter not to be in the starting lineup Friday. And Gabe says, well, had a good talk with Jock, and we discussed it beforehand that we were going to either sit him against Gore or Snell, and we chose tonight Snell. So, okay, Gore's up today. No Jock. Hey, let's go with Austin Wins. I think he gives us the best shot to win. And, hey, the Giants woke up today. 12 runs. We can't complain 17 hits about that, but I still don't want to see Austin Wins as my DH when I got Luis Gonzalez and Jock Peterson. I don't care if the guy has 3 arms and he can throw it, with a middle arm that's coming out of his backside. And this platoon crap is gone too far. I mean, when you got to play Austin Wins as your DH, you're taking this thing too far, and your geek squad is running the show. I'm sorry. Baseball men don't make that move. You poll 30 managers from 20 years ago, and all 30 of them will say, I'm putting my best hitters in, trying to win a ball game.
Yeah, the only thing I can think is it does seem like, we were talking about this yesterday. It seems like he's got a little, I don't know. He's becoming a weirdly kind of a Bull Durham type folk hero type leader guy.
Yeah, I like Wins. Don't get me wrong. I think Wins is a competitor.
Against Wins, you're right. It's about just what the heck. Why can't Jock get ABs? Why are we not starting Luis Gonzalez? I get that.
I like Wins. This isn't an indictment against Austin Wins. It's against Kapler and the people who were analytics obsessed that have got it so much down. I mean, it worked out today. He got a hit when it was 4-0, made it 5-0. So it worked out. But
funny, how many teams have their worst hitter in the lineup playing DH and batting 8th? It's supposed to be an advantage. What the heck?
DH is usually you think your DH is going to be in your top 5 of your lineup somewhere.
Yeah, has to be.
But I don't know. I just and the other thing I don't like about it is he's your catcher. So what do you do if Bart goes out? Now you handicap. It's not like Austin Wins is the difference maker and you got to have him in that lineup, no matter what. If Bart goes out, now you've handicapped yourself for the rest of the game with trying to find a backup catcher who's not even caught a game in the majors for this year.
I don't know. It has had rush feature. Have you read anything about Wyatt? Why that happened?
It wasn't like Gonzo was hurt. He played, right? He came in later.
Giants have all 3. They have all 3 catchers in the lineup, which is hilarious.
Mercedes, you could have moved Mercedes, but then you took Mercedes out for Gonzalez. At that point you were up pretty big, but it's fortunate. It broke the Giants' way today, and Kapler was able to escape something that, I've heard him say this before. He says, well, the odds of that happening. Well, yeah, the odds are low of your catcher getting hurt. But it does happen. It does happen.
It's also just pretty hilarious that, we had your mean Mercedes in left field to start the game. What the heck? I didn't even know that guy could play outfield.
He does play a little outfield. It's him or Ruff.
I can't quite get a grasp on Mercedes. I like the look of him. There's the moments where he reminds me a little bit of Sandoval. I don't know about necessarily the guy hitting third. It's not like he's really doing anything. I kind of like his ABs, but
yeah, I don't understand.
Peter's memory is right. At least Ruff wasn't in left. But You know what? Let's talk about what's fun about this game, and that's that
Yeah.
We had VR, Luis Gonzalez, although, they didn't all start, but we had VR, Luis Gonzalez, and Bart in the game, and they all made an impact. Bart got on base 3 times. Villar got on base 3 times. No, he did.
Yeah, he walked. He had, let me pull up the box score again.
Let's look at the combined. Let's see. I'm doing a little.
VR was 2 for 4, 2 hits.
Yep.
Base on ball. He was on base 3 times, scored 2 runs. I mean, VR's hitting 250 with a 417 slugging percentage, on base percentage of 333. I mean, he's not lights out, but he's definitely holding up his own. And I think it's good to see a young guy from your farm system that's 25 years old getting a shot and in place of Longoria. I mean, I've been saying this for about a month now. I'm tired of the Longoria gig. To me, it's over. You DFA'd McGee the other day. So maybe, they're hunting for a spot for Longoria. I mean, I thought maybe the Angels might try and grab him because, the Giants might try and offload him because they lost Rendon, but they just picked up, the Angels just picked up Jonathan VR. I don't know if he pronounces it Villar or VR of the third baseman. Wasn't he with the Cubs or something, I believe? Or
I believe so. I'm not sure.
I don't know how it's the same spelling as David VR.
Yeah.
But some people pronounce it VR, others pronounce it Villar. So so the Angels picked him up. So that kind of is a spot that Longoria is probably, not going to be able to go to.
And you know what? I mean, it was kind of fun having, and you hate to say this, and I know, Larry for sure would be pushing back on this, but we're talking about Crawford maybe, taking a day off every once in a while, and Estrada looked great.
I've been preaching that too, and I think it's helpful for Crawford. He's 35, and he's your best shortstop, and he should play 80 to 90%, but he needs a day off, I believe, once a week. Keep him strong, and when you're facing a tough lefty, Tyro's more than capable of being a good shortstop filling in. He's very, I think he's got good hands. He's got a good glove. I like he's got good range. I like Estrada, and his bat, another home run today, 2 for 5. Estrada has been a really good player for them. I mean, you're looking at the averages in today's lineup, and they're starting to pick up. I mean,
they are
today
starting to look like a real big league lineup. And you know what? I know it's kind of sacrilegious to say, fellas, but with Belt out, with Longoria out, with Crawford out, this team's got some juice all of a sudden. That sort of that lineup. I mean, just the speed alone, and it's hilarious because it's not like they're insanely fast guys, but just compared to having options to get to second on a pass ball like VR. I mean, none of our guys can do that. He's one of the biggest speedsters on the team at this point. Joey Bart is an athlete compared to everybody else.
Oh yeah,
it's like when you have Luis. I mean, I don't whatever for Ruff, but at some point in the game, it was like we had Luis Gonzalez, then Ruff. But then we had Estrada, VR, Bart, and it was kind of like, ooh, this is like kind of fun.
And then you get Yaz and Slater in the back-to-back there at the 1-9 spot.
I just ran the numbers. So those 3 guys today, Luis Gonzalez, VR, and Bart, combined had a 455 average today with a 571 on base, 2 ribbies. So they were 5 for 11, and they had 3 walks. So.
Yeah. No, Art
freaking smoked that ball. That was awesome. And it was great to see him walking. And even his previous AB, where I think that he where he walked, he had like a screamer down the line. Romo, did I forget to say Estrada? I should have factored Estrada in there. Honestly, how old is Estrada?
Estrada's like 27.
26.
26?
Yeah, I like Tyro.
Oh, I like Tyro a lot. Yeah, he's 26. In fact, he just turned 26 in February, so he stays 26 for the whole season. So that's good. So Next year, he's a 27-year-old. He's, entering his prime really as a baseball player. And he's still young. You want those guys that are big leaguers that are 3-4 years this side of 30. And, you look at Gonzalez. Gonzalez is, let's see. Well, Mercedes is, he's a little older for a guy who just came up last year. He's 29. But you said Estrada's 26. VR is 25. Bart is 24. No, 25. Bart's 25. He's kind of an older rookie.
I know.
Yeah, he'll be 26 in December. So he's but who was the one I was looking for? Not Estrada, but
VR.
No, VR is 25. Just turned 25 in January. And then
these are the ages that are reasonable to have in a lineup, even though we look at them as these young minor leaguers.
Gonzalez, that's who I was looking at. Gonzalez is 26. He turns 27 in September. So
I forgot about Gonzalez. Yeah.
Gonzalez. And then you got Slater, who is around 30. He's 29, turns 30 in December. So Slater, I don't know. I know some people think Slater's kind of but I like him.
Slater hater. He's a great guy to see, utility guy. And I'll say, we keep talking about, oh my God, who even on this whole roster are we going to have in, 3-4 years? And, now all of a sudden, I'm not saying they're going to be the stars of the team, but, as pieces, I think Estrada, VR, Bart, Gonzalez are all here to stay. And I think,
you know what I like? Let me tell you about Slater, what I like about him.
Okay.
He's a guy, he's hitting 277. Yeah, I don't know if these splits are they must be a little off because they updated his average, but the splits are lower than his average, so that doesn't make sense. But versus lefty, he's hitting 273. Against righties, he's hitting 271. That's a sign of a consistent hitter.
And his on-base percentage is the same versus lefties and righties.
Yeah, on base 387 versus at lefties 386 against righties. Slugging 442, lefty 438. OP, everything right across the board. The guy, to me, him and Gonzalez should be playing, and Peterson should be in the lineup, whether it's in the outfield or DHing. And then your third outfielder can be between Yaz and Wade. Okay. And, if you're facing a right-handed pitcher and you want to put Wade in there and put him at first base, it belts out, but, and it doesn't hurt to have a lefty sitting on the bench. You don't have to have all lefties just because they're all lefties. There's a time where you can use them in a different part of the game. But, I think the thing that's really, really missing on this team is a true outfielder, not Darren Ruff, not your mean Mercedes out in left field, but another complement to Slater. What would have been a great addition to this team in the offseason was, in my opinion, was Nick Castellanos or Seiya Suzuki, but Suzuki didn't want to come here, and that's fine. You can't force someone here. Castellanos, it probably just came down to what he was offered, and to me, you need bats, and we saw what bats can do today when everybody starts hitting. It is contagious. I mean, who got it started? It was Estrada, right? He hit the 2-run homer after.
And you could see we were putting pressure on them on the bit, even just stuff like that, Yaz beating out that. And it's like we were saying, I brought up who on the Niners or who on the Giants would beat Trent Williams in a race from second to home. And we all kind of said, probably Yaz. And so Yaz is still a fast guy. Yaz is still athletic. And so I think Yaz almost is better complemented amongst this group of a little bit faster, younger, more athletic guys, because it's just, I don't know. It just seems like there's a flow to the team. There's something just so horrible about, Darren, these roughs and Longo, and, it's getting to the point where Crawford, Belt, they when they put the ball in play, if it's not a perfect placement, it's just like, well, all right, they're out. Like, you don't even have a ting. There's not even like a slight bit of like, oh, maybe you could beat it out. It's just like, depressing. Like, it feels like a strikeout almost. Like, there's just no chance of anything happening. Even if there's an error, they're still going to get them. So I just want, what we've been saying is I want some speed, some youth, some fire. Seems like Wood and Rodon, and then Webb in his own way, where, you know, he's kind of a quietly like super crazy competitor. It seems like the staff is really doing that. And then I like the idea of just having all these young guys, man. And how could it not pick up the team when Bart starts hitting and when when Luis Gonzalez, you know, comes up and just immediately picks back up on his tear.
Yeah, how about that home run he just missed, huh?
Oh God, I know. That's
and
Wilmer,
I mean,
man, Wilmer, I still love, you know, Wilmer. I
said maybe a week ago. I think it was about a week ago. The roster I want to see as everyday guys is on their 13 position players was I didn't put name Bart, but because I didn't know what they're going to do with him. But if he's here, he's here. Let's have Bart. And I'm all for, you know, Belt and Crawford and Estrada and Flores and VR is the infielders, the outfielders. You know, I mean, I like Ruff, but I guess it comes down to either Ruff or Mercedes and who you're going to take. I probably would have to go with – that's a tough call, but I'd probably have to go with Ruff just because of his experience. And if they do make a run, he's a guy that can give you, you know, a clutch hit from the bench. And I don't know about Mercedes. I mean, he started off – Mercedes' claim is he started off 8 for 8, right, last year in the big leagues, his first 8 at bats. And he's got some pop. We haven't seen a home run yet. But, you know, it's not like a huge swing, in my opinion, between Ruff and Mercedes. So I don't know. But I definitely want to see these young guys playing. And VR definitely doesn't he look so much better at third than he does at second?
Oh, yeah. I still can't quite get a read on his defense. It's fine. It's serviceable, right? But can't quite tell. But I could see, man. I mean, imagine if he was willing to, I don't know, if he kind of embraced the, I don't know, the positionalist sort of style that they play. I mean, if he could play, I mean, him at first base would be kind of nice.
I think he's played some first base. Yeah, I mean, they've got a gluttony of first basemen between Belt, Flores, and
like crappy ones, though.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, Dan, is like what I was saying. Like I love Wilmer because I love Wilmer because I always feel comfortable with him up in big situations, and I don't know. I just really enjoy watching him as a player. He seems like he's super clutch. The problem with Wilmer, where I start looking at Wilmer and not liking Wilmer, is when we run out the old man lineup of Belt, Ruff, Crawford, Longo, and then it's like Wilmer is. He's just, you know, he's just another one of those guys that's so freaking slow. That's not
right. Great. When you put 6 guys out there that are,
but if you surround him with the young guys like tonight, and then it's like, okay, you know, that's fine to have one guy that's not necessarily, you know, a speedster. He's kind of our power guy, and so
yeah,
I don't know.
I actually figured out the secret to the Giants winning 2 games in a row. I've taken the money line both days on the Padres. Yeah. So I figured, you know what? I'll take the money line and the Padres winning by or the run line, excuse me, not the money line, the run line. I took the run line figuring I bet $10 to win I think it was $10 today to win 12 or something. It's like I think it was plus 120 or might have been plus 140, but anyway, 2 days in a row. So I'll keep doing that, guys out there in the chat. Maybe you guys can send me, maybe 10 of you guys can send $1. Keep this Giants winning streak going. And
you're still betting just like a Chipotle burrito, essentially.
Yeah, $10. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't mind losing $10 if the Giants win. And if they happen to, I mean, the problem was I was betting on them every game and they kept losing.
Yeah,
I was betting on them to win. So I says, you know what? I might as well, if I'm going to watch them lose, I might as well make some money on it. Right.
Oh, exactly.
And then they turn around and win yesterday. So I said, you know what? That was a good luck. I'll call, I'm the cooler effect here. So I've got it going. So my brother did that in 2012. He'd bet on the Giants and they kept losing, and then they were down 3-1 against the Cardinals. So he bet they were down 0-2 against Cincinnati. And he bet Cincinnati, and then they won 3 in a row. So he lost 3 in a row. Then he bet against them, and they were against the Cards, were down 3-1. The Giants won 3 in a row. And then he bet all 4 against the Giants, Detroit, in all 4 games. He was doing it because he was like superstitious that the Giants would win.
Yeah.
And so he got a clean sweep, man. It was like 10 straight. So
that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's some people that are like, they're so offended when they hear about like the emotional hedge, but I don't think there's anything wrong with an emotional hedge. Sometimes when we put ourselves so deeply invested in these teams, and it becomes, you reach the point where, it's the Warriors run, and it's like, this is supposed to be the best, most exciting like thing, ever. And instead I'm just, and my stomach's in knots, and I can't stop thinking about it every day. And I can't even imagine the pain of losing it all after all. And it's like, I understand the emotional hedge, because sometimes you just need to, when you're at 150, sometimes you just need to be able to bring it down to like 120, Hey, look
at that. Romo comes through with $2 for my betting fund. All right, Romo, I'll put 10 tomorrow. I'll take the D-backs.
He likes Bednar. Got nasty. I like Bednar too.
Oh, from the Pirates?
No, or I don't. I thought he was talking about our Bednar.
Let's see. Oh yeah. Romo likes Bednar. Rebel 444 said, how about Will Wilson and Haro Pomeranz for Bednar from Pittsburgh? That's David Bednar. That's David Bednar, or Will Bednar's brother. He'd be good in the pen. He'd be a closer. I mean, we don't really have a closer, it seems like. I mean, Duvall's kind of like, but I love his stuff. But I mean, yeah, the Giants definitely need an arm out there. This bullpen has been really, really shaky this year. It's been so up and down.
No, I totally agree. Somebody in the chat said like Marty Laurie said who he thinks that they need to get. It's like a, starting pitcher, a bat,
a hitter. Yeah.
I don't
know what bats available out there. I mean, Josh Bell's a bat that's available. He's a guy that's a switch hitter, plays first base. I suppose you could DH him, The other thing is, it'll be interesting what's going to happen. How many games before the All-Star game? We've got 7 here at home before the break. And then let's take a look after the break. They've got LA for 4 in LA. Yikes. Then 3 against Arizona. So that's 7. And then 4 back home for Chicago. That's 11. And then they've got 2 here in LA actually 4 in LA, but 2 at the trade deadline. The trade deadline for some reason this year is on Tuesday. It's usually a Sunday, but it's August 2nd. Well, I guess it's not usually the same. It's just usually July 31st, so it's not usually a day of the week. But so they've got after the break 4, 7, 11, 13 games before the break plus these 7. So they got 20 games. So are the Giants going to be sellers or buyers? 20 games. I would think they need to go 12-8 to be realistically kind of like right there.
From here on out, you're saying?
For the next 20 before the trade deadline?
I think as long as they're let's just say 6 up. I think 6 or 7 up. Let's say 7 up on account of the branding. 7 up. 7 up. Yeah. The Giants trade deadline brought to you by.
You're talking 7 up over 500.
Yeah, 7 up over 500.
Right now they're 2 up, so they would have to go
in 5 games.
They'd have to be 15 and let's see, 13 and 7. That would be 6. No, let's see, 12 and they really can't be 7 up because they're 2 up. If they go 12 and 8, they'll be 6 up.
Are they only 2 up right now?
Yeah, they're 43 and 41.
Oh God!
So they 6 up or 8 up. I don't think they can go odd. Yeah, they can't go be an odd number up.
Okay. All right then.
Unless they, so they're going to be. I would like to see them if they go 12 and 8. That makes them. Let's see, 43, 55, and 49 at the break, or not the break, at the trade deadline.
Okay,
we're talking trade deadline.
Let's see them go 13 and 7.
Yeah, that's at the trade deadline, August 2nd.
Okay.
So if they go 13, and they can make that trade. I don't know I would imagine the trade deadline ends at a certain time before the game. So let me look it up, because the game that night is at home, 6:45 against the Dodgers. It's probably a 4:00 Eastern time trade deadline. If somebody knows that in the chat while I'm looking it up, let us know. MLB trade deadline 2022. When is the trade deadline? Is 6 p.m. Eastern time, August 2nd. So that's 3:00 here. So it is an odd game. They'll only have played 19. So 12 and 7, Ryan, will get us to 7 up.
We'll be boogieing at 12 and 7. That'd be sweet.
12 and 7 against the teams they're facing is not going to be an easy task, because of those 19 games, they've got Arizona 6 times and the Dodgers 5. So that's 11 of the 19, and then they've got Milwaukee for 4 and Chicago for 4. So that's it. That's your next 19 games. And
I think we just have to get fat we got to get fat going into the All-Star break. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, get fat before the break, and then you become, hopefully buyers. We saw what Atlanta did last year, and I don't know how they did it. They must have, I don't know, as far as who their prospects they gave away, what kind of guys they were, but to come up with 4 outfielders because who'd they lose last year besides Acuna in the outfield? They lost. They still had Osuna, right? Osuna was still out there. Yeah. I don't know. They added 4 outfielders, though. Duvall, Peterson, Soler, and Eddie Rosario. 4 guys. That weren't on their team. All of a sudden, all 4 of those guys were catalysts in them winning the World Series. So that's insane.
It can be done. It was proven last year. So if the Giants can remake this team, and I do think they need to remake this team. Let's not get excited and say, hey, they've won 2 in a row. This is 2 days ago we were saying this is the worst team in baseball, which they were currently, as of 2 days ago. So, big break yesterday. Rodon, but the kind of game that Rodon threw wasn't just that he dominated and had 12 Ks and gave up 1 run. He finished the thing. He finished with a strikeout. And so to me, the thing about Rodon is that could be a season-changing game. That's the kind of game where,
for sure. I think also what goes into it also is the fact that he didn't make the freaking All-Star team, which we haven't even talked about.
Yeah, let's
absurd.
talk about that because that could really ignite maybe some of these
Yeah,
guys. Hopefully,
I kind of like it though. I kind of like it. As crappy as it is, and realistically, the thing will happen where somebody backs out and he'll be the first one in. But still, man, I think that fires up Rodon and Webb, and they already were fired up. So I'm excited for his next start. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I think it's going to be
really?
Tuesday night. Let me check. I think it's going to be Tuesday night here in the City Connect Unis. Let's see. Do we have the starting pitchers to be determined? It's got to be Rodon. He pitched what? No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Webb. I'm seeing Webb Tuesday night. I'm going to miss Rodon. I think he's pitching Thursday probably. He pitched Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, he'll pitch Thursday, the opener against Milwaukee. So dang it. But I did see Rodon the game 2 against Miami of the season opener and Webb the first game. So yeah, it's going to be Webb Tuesday night, I believe. So yeah, when we look at the upcoming, who's pitching tomorrow? Is it Cobb? Let's see.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, Cobb against Merrill Kelly. And then Tuesday, let's see if they've got, Webb against Dallas Keuchel. Dallas Keuchel, he's still playing, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I can't believe like Verlander, some of these guys. I mean, Wainwright's not quite on the Verlander level, but I mean, hell, that's another annoying one is, they've got Kershaw's in the All-Star game. And I don't know. I mean, probably take Wainwright over Kershaw at this point.
Hey, look what we get though with the way, if things stay the way they are, Webb will pitch. See, he's pitching Tuesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He'll pitch the final game Sunday, right? And Rodon will miss he'll pitch Thursday against Milwaukee, so he'll be fresh, probably ready to go to start the second half against LA. And then if Webb is pitching Sunday, he can then have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days rest and then pitch game 2. So you can set up your rotation for the second half starting Rodon, Webb, and then, game 3 against LA, maybe you go, I don't know if you go Wood or if you go Junis or if you go Cobb, but you're going to have your guys back. So, so I think the second half, if Rodon is still with the club, it depends. All depends on the next 19 games, like we talked about. If they go 10-9 even, they're still probably right in the middle of this thing, because St. Louis and Philadelphia, they're kind of playing about the same level, and we've got to get by both of those two teams to get into the wild card. So St. Louis, Philadelphia, and then the other point would be is if they don't go 10-9, if they do if they have a big fallback and they do something like 5-14, 6-13, they're probably selling.
Yeah,
probably selling, and then so guys out there, fans, Giants fans, Krueg subscribers, and if you haven't hit subscribe yet, please hit subscribe as we grow this channel. We're over 5,100. I don't know what our numbers are right now, but
they're pretty similar.
Yeah, but hit like and subscribe. But this next 19 games is it for the Giants this season. It will tell whether the Giants buy or sell. And so if you're a Giants fan, which you obviously are if you're watching, you want to see it one way or the other. You don't want to see it be, they're in the next 19 games. You don't want to see a 9-10 or a 10-9. You want to see something like 13-6 or 6-13, because this hinges on where the Giants go. I mean, if they're true contenders, they've got to make it happen here in the next 19 games and either be like neck and neck for one of the wild card positions, or be put themselves in a position where they're in that 1, 2, or 3 slot of the wild card. And if not, if Philadelphia and St. Louis start pulling away and the Giants are pulling back, and you want the Giants to be able to make it clear that they trade guys like Rodon, probably a Flores, I would think would go too.
Oh, pain.
Because, as much as I hate to see either one of those guys go, Flores would be a valuable commodity to a contending team. Can play first, can play second, can play some third, can DH for you, great pinch hitter. I mean, this is what championship clubs look for, guys like Wilmer Flores, okay? And Rodon,
he's it's so funny. It's like he's our 3-hitter.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a true 3-hitter, but I still think he's a valuable piece for any team. And Absolutely. So you want to have a clear-cut direction where you want to go. I mean, let's talk about that, right? Let's say the Giants are out of it. Let's say they tank here in the next 19 games and they do what they've done over the last 19 games, which is like six games. Who do you think would get dealt? I think for me, it's Rodon, Flores, and I could see those 2 guys going for sure. I could see a bullpen piece going like a Leon, something like that. And I don't know if there was injuries or something, maybe a Yaz, someone might pick up a Yaz, but I don't think anybody else is really that desirable.
I mean, maybe some bullpen arms. I don't know.
Jock. Yeah. Anonymous. Jock would definitely be a guy that would be. I forgot about Jock because, so, I mean, your most valuable guys that can bring back pieces for you would be Rodon, Jock, and Flores. Flores isn't going to bring you a top prospect, but he'd bring you a decent prospect.
For sure.
Yeah, but Rodon, I think he could bring you a team's number 1 or 2 prospect, maybe 1 and maybe like a 1 and a 6 or 7.
Rodon would be like 1 or 2 because these teams that are going to be at the top, the Yankees, the Yankees, the Dodgers. Obviously, we're not trading with the Dodgers, but
right.
I don't know, Brewer or whatever, AL teams. They are all going to be competing for starting pitching, and it gets to the point during the trade deadline where teams overpay for mid starters. And Rodon is a freaking Cy Young candidate last year, and he's doing it again this year. And he's the kind of guy you want on your team.
Absolutely.
So no, I think we'd get a shocking haul for him. I think we get like top, like 1, 2, 4, 8, something like that. Either that or, if you trade Rodon and maybe they're playing hardball, you definitely get at least, maybe a 1 and a 5 or something like that. And then maybe, they take on, Longoria, or they take on some contract we don't want.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. You want to take, you're going to have to take
Longo, Stella, exactly. That would be a good move for the Giants because you get off the contracts and make it so we can sign free agents in the offseason and we're not tied up and we got more young guys coming in. But again, I don't know. I don't see us being that far out of it. And like we said, as long as
as a Giants fan, I want to see him. I want to see him go for it. I want to see him be in this thing. I want to see them go over the next 19 before the trade deadline. I want to see him go 12-7, 13-6, heck, even a 14-5. I want to see them get hot, and
Yeah.
that's the weird thing about baseball. They just went through this period where they were 4-14, something like that. Why not turn it around? And, I'd love to see them do 14-4, 14-5 before the break. It's possible. Those things happen in baseball. And it seems like they happen more to the Giants. Maybe it's just because I followed them all these years, that they'll win 5 in a row, then they'll lose 5 in a row, then they win 7, and then they lose 7. It's kind of a thing about them. But last year was the most craziest year as a Giants that I've ever been involved with, where they were winning all the time. It just, that was so unbelievable. And, I didn't expect 107 wins. Nobody did. I honestly thought they would win 95-100 this year. I really did. At the beginning of the year, I thought they could be a 95 because I liked the pitching staff, and I thought our bullpen would be dominant like it was last year. So when the bullpen fails you and the defense fails you, and then the bats start to fail you, gosh, you're lucky if you're going to be a 500 team. So right now, I'm pulling for them. I want to see them put together a really, really good stretch before not only the All-Star break, but before the trade deadline. And then I want to see Farhan, if the team rewards him with a good bounce back here over the next 19 games, I want to see Farhan reward them and go out and make some good moves, and get some, some stronger players. So we'll see. I just don't want to see us go to the finish line with what we have. And I'll give Farhan credit for the signings of Rodon and Gonzalez, obviously. But Rodon is a great signing because he does provide you with, helps your own team. But if the team is underperforming like they have, then he becomes a great trade piece, which helps you build up, your roster for future. So I just don't want to see him get some 18 or 19-year-old that's an A-ball that's supposed to be, hey,
Yeah.
It's another guy 4 years away. They need guys that are ready to contribute like next year and be everyday players. I want to see everyday players come up. We've got only a few everyday players right now. I think Gonzalez is an everyday player. Crawford's obviously, but he's getting old and he's nearing the end, but he's still an everyday player. I think Estrada has proven he's an everyday player. Hopefully Bart makes himself into an everyday player, and, VR possibly. And then, Jock should be out there more. I understand he's not going to play every day and he doesn't hit lefties the greatest. In some lefties, he looks overmatched and he probably is best sitting those days. But, I think he deserves to get over 400 at bats a year, and you see him in the lineup 2/3 of the time, whether it's a lefty or righty. When it comes, 162 games, I want to see Jock in there 120 games,
No, for sure. And the other thing about the Rodon, okay, so now to be a little bit of a negative Nancy, I don't know if everybody else that was watching the broadcast caught this, but of course they brought it up once, because the selection show was going on at the same time. They brought it up, and, John Miller and Kipe and Fleming, like they're all passing it around, talking about it, and obviously that you can tell they're a little ticked. Again, I might be reaching, but I'm seeing these tiny little jabs, I feel like, at Kapler and the way they were talking about it. And this went on for a couple innings where they would talk about how they would go into Bochy's office and they would literally watch him making calls to all the managers in the league, advocating to try and get Vogelsong on the team, calling and trading favors and doing everything he can to reward his guys. And, I think the implication there was Kapler didn't do these teams, their managers, their management are advocating for their players to be in the All-Star game, and I don't think that they made the way, at least they made it seem like Kapler didn't advocate.
Where was that from? Where'd you hear that?
During the broadcast today.
Oh, okay. I didn't get a chance to see.
They didn't come out and actually say it, but they were talked for like 2 innings about how Bochy, first of all, not just how Bochy would do all this, but how they would be there with Bochy in his office. He's calling around, asking for favors because he knows that every team needs to have an all-star. But, and he said he just put so much effort into Vogie getting into the all-star game, and how he did that with all his players, and he was always advocating and always just felt an emotional attachment. And it's like, that is maybe what we're missing, a little bit of that. Because, hell, 2 phone calls, advocating for your guy. It's not a hard thing to advocate for. Rodon's been incredible. I think Webb has an argument to be an all-star. Reserve,
I kind of wonder where it makes me wonder. I don't know what's going on in the clubhouse, but it makes me wonder sometimes when Rodon, I saw his body language. I heard his words. He was like, something's got to change. I don't know.
Do you think he's stoked to be putting up Cy Young numbers in a massive market, coming off a top 5 Cy Young performance or season, and he's not in the All-Star game? Like, that doesn't make, for a guy that, his agent is Boris, you think he's happy about being in San Francisco at that point? He's got a disconnected team that fell into a giant rut, and he's not even getting recognized for his performance. So
no, and I don't see him back with this team one way or the other next year.
Kapler. Rodon. Yes.
Rodon won't be with the Giants next year unless he gets hurt somehow and is, unable to finish the season, and he elects to opt in. If he doesn't do anything, he's with the Giants, but he's got an opt out. He'd be crazy to not test the market after this year, right? So, he'll get $30 million a year. He's only 29.
Oh, so for sure.
He'll get a 4-year deal he might even get a 5-year deal like Gosman got.
Wait, what happened with Zach Wilson? Why am I seeing this? It seems like it's hilarious, but I can't quite get the story.
Talking about the Jets quarterback?
Yeah. What happened?
I don't know what did happen. I heard something on Twitter, but I didn't something about him being different.
No, it's something happened weird where, like, I don't know, he got, like, his former girlfriend and his former teammate are now together or something. And then Zach Wilson, I think, like, just banged. From what I'm seeing, it seems like he banged his friend's mom, like, almost as payback. That's hilarious.
What?
Yeah, which is funny because everyone was, like, talking about Zach Wilson's mom. But yeah, I guess he's not as Mormon as we would have once thought. Damn. Yeah.
Where was that at? Where'd you read that?
So I'm getting it on Twitter just in small snippets. So apparently what happened is, oh my God. Yeah. So he has his ex-girlfriend, like, kind of tried to embarrass him and, like, got with his friend, and then, like, he apparently just got with that friend's mom or something like that. So a lot of Cougars.
His girlfriend's mom, or his
No. His friend who got with his girlfriend's mom.
Oh, he got with his friend.
Damn. Apparently he took 2 BYU cheerleaders to his high school senior prom.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Damn. What a guy. What a guy. Ex-girlfriend's new boy. What the heck? Damn. Huh. Well, that's pretty hilarious. I'm glad Trey Lance. That's. I don't know how I'd feel about that. It's a little bit like the Jimmy G porn star story.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Back to, sorry, I got sidetracked. So back to Rodon. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I don't necessarily see him staying here.
Why would he stay when he can opt out? I mean, and if he opts out, the only way he's going to stay is if Farhan offers him the big money.
I don't really want that, honestly. I love Rodon, but I mean, I don't know. In 2 years, he's going to be 31.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy because the thing with Rodon, so what do? Do you ride him and hopefully that's why this next 19 games is so critical, because if they're going to make a push and be in the wild card hunt and really have a pretty good shot at winning a spot in the playoffs, you're going to need Rodon. And if you're over the next 19 don't do well and all of a sudden you find yourself instead of one back, what are they back? 1.5 right now of Philadelphia? Let me look here. If they're only, if they fall 5 back, standings, wild card,
they're 2 back.
They're 2 back of Philadelphia, 1 back of St. Louis. So they got to get over both teams. And, I mean, it's not impossible that they couldn't catch San Diego. They're only 4 back of San Diego, and they still got many games left with the Padres. So, I mean, I think the Padres, when they get Tatis back, they could be really scary, if he's –
for sure. But I don't know. I got to get this vibe from and I don't know if the chat feels the same way. There's a little bit of the Chargers vibe to the Padres.
San Diego.
Here, people are going to pick them to win the World Series or, actually win the division. And you look at all the talent and the chutzpah, but then it just never comes together. I mean, I don't know. I'm not super. They were talking about it on the broadcast about how, they, even when the Giants are bad, we usually handle the Dodgers decently. The Padres just get wiped out by the Dodgers. It's a little bit.
I don't know what it is there. Yeah. I mean,
maybe a better comp would be like the Arizona Cardinals. Like they get freaking smashed by the Rams like every time. We smash the Rams. The Rams still are going to probably win the division. And people are going to always look at the Cardinals as a sleeper. But in reality, when it's all said and done, it's going to be Rams and Niners. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it was 49ers Seahawks for years. And prior to that, it was 49ers and the Rams. I mean, the Niners, they had their down years as well. But for many, many years, 80s, 90s, early part of this century, they were – kings of the West. And then they had that stretch between like 2002 through 2011 or 12 or, 11, I think it was. They weren't that great. And then Harbaugh shows up. They get good again. And then
also, I'm a little confused. So, okay. I'm seeing a lot of, people posting stuff about Rodon and how crazy it is that he's not. And I obviously 100% agree, but what I'm seeing stats I'm not seeing anywhere else, like the fact that he's leading the NL in WAR.
Yeah, he is as a pitcher. Yeah, he's 3.7, I think, WAR.
He's a 3.3 on ESPN. Corbin Burns has the same. Aaron Nola is ahead of him. Shane McClanahan's ahead of him. Tony Gonsolin's ahead of him. Max Fried's ahead of him, and Sandy Alcantara's ahead of him.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not sure.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. Unless, I think that there's different WAR statistical websites. Like maybe they're going off Baseball Reference, but it's possible they're just cherry picking the one that makes
Yeah, I'm not sure, but he's really the X factor in this whole thing. What happens, because the worst thing that can happen for the Giants is to keep Rodon and miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the absolute worst, because
Osman didn't make the All-Star team either?
I guess he didn't, did he?
Yeah. That's insane.
So that's my biggest concern is the Giants, and for them to make the playoffs, I don't think you can just keep this same team and trust it, even if it gets hot over the next 2.5 weeks before the trade deadline. Next 3 weeks, call it, that over the next 19 games, this club goes 14-5, 13-6, and all of a sudden everybody's pretty excited. Says, oh, this team is capable of winning it all. Well, this is the same team that we've been talking about that's been old and slow. Now, it depends on how it goes. I mean, if it's because VR's in there and they're doing well and Gonzalez is in there. I mean, the team did start to have its worst period when Gonzalez went out. So it's kind of interesting. He's been back for 2 games and they're 2-0, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
it's Luis Gonzalez. He's a different type of hitter. I mean, he's a guy that, gives you a good at bat against a left-hander or right-hander. He gets on base and he's fast. And so it changes the whole complexity of the game. Can we get a qualifying offer on Rodon? The T. Brizzle says, yes, we would be able to get a qualifying offer on him if he elects out, if he opts out, I believe. I'm pretty sure you would get a qualifying offer on him if he goes as a free agent. I'm not 100%, but I would believe that to be the case. So qualifying offer gives you an extra draft pick. But so anonymous, no qualifying offer. They do not exist anymore. Okay. Did not know that. That must be because of the latest in the CBA. They don't have the qualifying offer. So, yeah, if Rodon goes out, he's done. Giants get nothing for him.
Huh. Well, I mean, honestly, it's not a huge. I want to get something for him, but at the same time, I mean, like, what do we? I mean, first of all, we're not going to. There's just no way we sign him to a long contract. There's no way Farhan does that. So essentially, we're saying, do we want? What would you rather have? Basically, you have 2 options. Would you rather ride it out for this year and maybe next year and, try and compete for a World Series with him as one of our staff? Or
the problem is you don't have him next year if he opts out.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just say, okay, this year with the possible second year, but would you rather that, or would you rather just trade him right now and essentially kind of give up hope on the season? It's a tough question.
It is. Like Anonymous says, take it a step further. Do you believe the Giants can win the World Series? If not, they need to trade Rodon. It's not only about this year, it's about the next decade. And that's true. I mean, the problem is do I believe the team can win the World Series? As of today, no, I don't. But stranger things have happened. I didn't think in 2010 they had a shot against Philadelphia, and they strange things happen in the playoffs. I thought last year the Giants or Dodgers the winner of that series would win the World Series. Both teams didn't make it.
I think that was what's really interesting is, like, I wonder what last year looks like if we, had the DH rule and, wait, what am I saying? If we had the DH, and then I don't know. I just wonder what that season looks like if we're not in this insane freaking race with the Dodgers where we're both, essentially playing playoff we played playoff baseball for like 2.5 months.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It came down to the final game of the season.
Yeah, it was every.
And then the Dodgers had to play a game to get into the playoffs. And I don't know. I think if it's like this year with the expanded playoffs, I don't know. Things could have gone differently, because I do think the Giants and Dodgers were the best 2 teams last year. And you know what? It was one of those things where the Braves, they got hot. But
that's the thing about baseball is the best teams in the regular season don't always win the World Series. It's the teams that are peaking and playing the best ball. Atlanta was really peaking in the last 40, 50 games. They were charging, and they went from a under 500 team to at this point last year, they were under 500, and they took off, and they had a lot of momentum, and they had great defense, great pitching, and timely hitting. They had a lot of guys, a lot of power. They had speed. I mean, they had it all, and they didn't even have Acuna during that process, but they had a lot of weapons. And that's, you look at the Giants of 2010, they clearly were other teams that had better rosters, and yet the Giants got hot. They overtook San Diego the last week of the season and took the division. And then in 12, they got hot again at the end. And 14, they entered as a wild card and rode Bumgardner basically.
Hey, Dan, I'm so sorry to do this. My dad just put a sign on the door. We have like a family dinner tonight.
We've been going for an hour anyway, hour and 6 minutes. So
I don't even have time to run the ads. I'm so sorry, everyone.
That's cool.
Getting aggressed.
Yeah. So tomorrow we're going to be out. Me and Ryan will be out at the Country Club. What is it? Stonebridge in Hayward for NFL alumni golf tourney in the morning. So I'll see you there tomorrow, Rye. And I think we're meeting at the first tee in Romo. It was who was it that said they needed a double X? Oh, Mark Graves.
Yeah, we also need. I guess Larry had a commitment tonight. We got to talk to him though, because neither of us even know anything about what this commitment is. All right. Okay. So, I got to bounce. I'm sorry for leaving this on a weird note.
Yeah. Let me. You know what? If you. Oh yeah, you got to close it because I don't know. I don't have the tools. You got the machinery there. All right, guys. Hey, we'll be back on tomorrow night after the Giants and Diamondbacks game. So probably about 10 o'clock. Look for us to be on. I'll be at the ballpark, so I'm not sure. I may be getting on late, or maybe doing the show from my phone as I drive over the bridge.
Yep.
Maybe. So my wife will hold the phone.
Sounds great.
All right, you guys have a good one. Have a great,
sounds good.
Great evening, guys. Drives to the hoop again. He kicks it out to Wiggins. Wiggins drives, goes in for a monster slam. Oh,
yeah. Never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you won't get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one. I don't need to hassle. Yeah. We ain't never fall back. Hold our ground where we at.